he's had over his career. You know, that team made him. That team made him who he is. And to betray them at the final hour, shameful. Absolutely shameful.
He's gone for his hometown though, hasn't he? Or I mean, it's not quite his hometown, but it's his home proximity. He's all about this Sheffield buff that he thinks is a thing.
I just, look, as well as ITB have done, and the fact that they beat Wild is a massive step in the right direction and shows the real progress that this team has. I just don't see it today. I think G2 beating M&M kind of locked it in. I kind of looked at it and thought, realistically, M&M's going to be the team that give G2 a bit of bother. They've been here, they've done that. That's the big thing for G2, to have the experience over this side. You think about Azar, this is his first year as a rookie coming into it, even though as well his first year. Yonka has been around here and there sometimes, but even he is getting back into T1 again after a while. There's not a lot to go off compared to the veteran side that is G2.
The pressure certainly on G2, in my opinion, given that Into the Breach, whilst they're a fantastic team and they have a very good chance of actually doing this whole thing, I think the pressure's on G2 because you expect the previous winner of an SI to be performing at majors. And that's just something, in my opinion, that you need that presence. G2 as an org, if they don't make it to Atlanta, it's not going to be good enough for that organization. The organization's put a lot of trust and a lot of resource into the team, and the team are going to start to feel that pressure if they start missing out on these big events. So as we move in, I think it was interesting listening to the Leonski interview, talking about how these two have buddied up as scrim partners, obviously on different sides of EUL. EUL obviously split into Group A and Group B. So they're going to be very familiar with one another. And I think that adds an extra level of intrigue, especially when we start to look at the maps that we're playing here today, most notably this Nighthaven start. Nighthaven, a new map to the pool this stage. It's going to be something that these teams have practiced quite a bit against one another, I imagine.
Look, scrims are great, but it doesn't give you the real test of what an actual official game day gives you. The amount of teams where I've heard say, oh, we've done really well in scrims this week, and then get absolutely battered in their next play day is incredible. Teams rely very heavily on, oh, we worked really well in scrims. Unless it works in the real game, it doesn't matter. In my eyes, I always think whenever push comes to shove, it doesn't matter how you've played in the past, it depends on how you played in the day. And right now, this is how you play on the day. This is everything. It's for all the marbles. For at least one of these teams, it will be the final game they play off the year. But will it be ITB or will it be G2?
G2 starting off on the defense, Into the Breach starting off on the attack here. Into the Breach had some real nice ideas yesterday when we saw them play this map about how they want to go about approaching, attacking this map. They're attacking downstairs into tank and assembly. You can hear that Dokubi call coming through. A lot of info available for G2 here as well. We've got the pulse below of Virtue, feeding information to the roamers above. And of course, we've got the Valkyrie cameras from Benja, which can be cycled at any point by anybody to really provide a little bit of that info. Alamau looking to get a little bit bold on the hatch here. He's trying to work off the back of the info that Virtue's providing, but Kanto, he's better.
Look at his HP though. All it takes is a sliver of anything to take him down, but Alamau missing out on that kill. It is an issue. Leaves Virtue by himself. He could easily get collapsed onto by a couple of members of ITB. G2 would have studied ITB and how they played their Nighthaven, and it was a very slow approach from ITB. They were looking to gain control more so off, middle of the map, rather than just full top floor, try and work your way downstairs. They're all about the sideways take. It's a good pickup, has to be said, from Doki, being able to stop them for the meantime, eliminate that buck. I mean, it wasn't going to take much to kill the buck, but still, kills the kill. Doki inside a storage. It's a trade between him and Kendry, old teammates. Will trade bullets between one another. Benja was looking for the slip in behind, but has since then rotated, holding onto that storage door.
Benja's done a good job of staying alive here. He's been in and around the action, not really in position to get a trade off though. But as the round gets a little bit deeper underway, still could provide a bit of value. He has a C4 in his pocket as well, and that's not going to be much good if he's above. But he might be able to find an opportunity to use that. Uno just repositioning slightly here as well. Benja, he's going to find his man onto Noah. The plant is going to go down now. Jonker, full wide flashed. Azza, he's going to be there with the cover, ensuring that plant is confirmed. And picking up a kill onto Benja. Uno with all to do. Picks one and the second. Does he know that he's down? He certainly does now. Virtue, he might be down, but he's certainly not out.
No, don't do it.
He's thinking about it. He was looking at him. Plenty of time to disable that diffuser.
Easy's trying to make him do it. What a sicko.
Easy wants to watch the world burn, doesn't he?
Yeah, you've seen again for ITB. They're just trying to sweep in and clear those roamers. Pretty controlled. They take 1 point of the map. They're not looking to clear out those roamers from the very top floor, which is kind of what we see some teams would like to do. We've seen, I think, Jackal be played quite a few times in Nighthaven. You've got the Jackal above, maybe with some soft destruction. Then you clear out the players inside of storage, cut them off in garage, and then you work your way into the site. Because 9 times out of 10, if defenders are playing in and around storage and they're looking to hold that, they would have made your vertical angles for you to begin with, because they're looking to try and hold on to the breach from their own angles. So if you just go sweep top floor, the middle floor is already yours pretty much. You don't have to do much to that. But ITB never went for that. They were just looking to push straight across. They never really pressured the man in storage too much. You look what Doki was able to do. 2 kills, just stood behind a box. That was it. He just peeked up, got one, peeked up, got a trade. And at that point, it's a good position for G2. You've wasted quite a bit of time. You know they're not going to have much utility left because you've taken away some flashbangs here and there. And it's easy enough for them just to sit on site. Sure, it was pretty close there at the end, but they still had the time on their side.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb.
That time, and more importantly, they had Uno. Uno hit some real nasty shots there, and if it hadn't been for him, it would have gone very differently indeed, especially with Virtue already being downed. Wasn't a bad attempt from Into the Breach. And they ticked a lot of the boxes there. They did a good job of skirting around the information that G2 had at their fingertips. At least we're going to be bringing some of that information here again, mainly in the form of the Pulse. No Valkyrie this time, however. Obviously feeling as though they can get away without that. And, well, Into the Breach, they're going to be attacking onto that top floor.
Yeah, pretty standard at the moment. In terms of the setup. Oh, Uno. Where did you get taken out from? Were you just taking a trip downstairs? And yes, he was. The Pulse was looking to gain control of that basement, feed up some information, but Azur just sledged his way in, free trench, got downstairs and got an easy pick. Azami being banned away does hinder, I think, the defense for this top floor just a little bit more. You don't have the same kind of layers that you can set up, and you just keep falling back, using the keeper barriers even to block up some of the reinforced walls that get opened up by the Selmas, for example. With a Thermite ban, you know straight away that teams are going to be looking to go for the impact tricks and just deny you access of breaches entirely. So being able to impact trick, you know, the second set of Selmas just has the one hole open and then block that up with a keeper barrier is incredibly strong. We've seen that a few times in Nighthaven yesterday whenever it was being played by ITB in secret. There's a great showcase of it.
Some occasions where it's almost pointless bringing the breach because the wall just gets immediately dealt with that Kiba barricade, but not to be inside of this game. Instead, I'm going to see a little bit more of an old-fashioned approach here. Benja, he's taking an engagement over with Jonker and gets himself back safely to the site. Alamau looking to try and make a challenge here. The Candela isn't going to land. And switch over to the secondary, the SMG-11, perfect for this sort of medium-range engagement. But still Into the Breach, not really gaining any ground here. C4 ripped and ready as the drone comes out, but it's going to be dealt with quite quickly. You call that on the drone, Alamo. You can't be wasting util like that.
Oh, what a swing! Eliminates Kenny. Down goes the Ying. A big competitor off the board. Alamo, he fancies himself for another one, perhaps. It's going to be Kanto. Nobody from ITB really moving. Azur has to make the push now. They can see the time is not with them. He's got his way in now, but Alamau again appears. Kanto goes down. Maybe one more for Alamau. There's a third one there, and yes, he successfully does that. What a sweep from Alamau. Just holds on to the one doorway the whole time. And like just reaps the rewards off it.
A little bit reminiscent of some of the rounds that we've seen Into the Breach play already today, where it has just been very one-dimensional, and they've missed that dynamic approach into the way that they're looking to try and do things. We saw it a little bit on Bank. We saw it a little bit on Border. It obviously didn't cost them because here they are now in the grand final. But it's not something that we can see continue. We need that to be really nipped in the bud. 3 players dying at the top of Aqua. No, it's not really good enough, is it?
Just there's no bite. That was a play that ITB done yesterday against Secret, where they used the Ying really well. It was a bit of a minimalistic take. They weren't worried about going for the whole process of burning through the different layers over towards Connector and then finally into site. They just went very headstrong in through Aqua, get the Yings rolled into the site, just creates absolute mayhem, and you just push in, get the trades, and get the plant down. But they were lacking, I think, the nades from below. I'm surprised that they didn't really play a big part because they should have. You think about the position that Alamau was in the entire time. What's below him? Oh, soft destruction floor. So I don't know why they're not targeting the nades from below, which I thought they did really well at whenever they attacked Secret on that.
I think Into the Breach really had quite a slow start into this game so far. We're seeing that not only in the round count, but also in the kill department. Hopefully for them, they start to pick things up relatively soon. You don't want to let anything get too far away from you here. Good bit of teamwork here to get the breach open. Kanto can now come up and skeleton key out where the Maverick has already removed the reinforcement. We can look to start getting this top floor cleared. We did have, Kendrew in the drone, but Mute Jammers might just slow this down a little bit.
Yeah, always an issue, the old Mute Jammer. Just with very tight doorways that you try and get the drones into. Just not going to happen. That's a great swing from Noah. Doki gone off the board. However, the C4 from below, from Virtue, gets a kill back in favor of G2. Takes down the Buck. There's still a sledge, though, from Kenny, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue for it. I think now for ITB, you've got the first pick. You've still got at least one soft destruction available to you. All you need to do now is get players rotated around towards the windows. I'm looking at storage window. Particularly, you can clear out realistically, any strong angle that holds onto storage window can be cleared out from above with a verticality. Just simply clear out the players, jump in the window and go for a plant. That should be the option now. Uh-oh.
Unfortunate. Kenny not able to shoot that C4 out mid-air, and Jonker is going to pay the ultimate price. Alamau picking up a kill in the meantime. You might be able to do the Ver, but if there's no one at home, if there's no one on site, there's not a lot you're going to be able to do with it, and G2 aren't being given a reason to move at the moment. Noah looks as though he's got an idea as to where somebody is. Dokkaebi call coming through now as Into the Breach desperately try and use the rest of their utility, but Virtue, he's going to pick up his second. Kenny jumps over the top rope, immediately hits the prone, finds himself a shot onto Virtue, but can't grab the second. G2 really doing a great job of controlling the pace so far.
From what we've seen on Nighthaven, Ollie, the meta really has been set to C4s. That's what we're seeing, a hefty amount of. Valkyrie and Pulse doing a lot of damage. 4 C4s for G2, 2 C4 kills. So obviously you've got a good ratio there of success rate with the C4s. ITB struggling a lot with just staying alive to even formulate any form of attack. You know, for example, things look to be going pretty well, and then bang, a C4 just ruins the mood entirely. They just struggle to stabilize for more than 20 seconds without giving a pick away. They haven't really had a chance, I feel, to do a proper attack. The first round, they nearly got beat on time, so they scramble into the site. Second time, Alamau just didn't move his feet and shot them all as they tried to walk in through Aqua. And then the third time, as they're looking to start doing the vertical action, they get C4'd. They really haven't had a good chance yet. G2 have just hit them left, right, and center, not giving them any room to breathe. And that's a great strat, I think, for G2. If you look at how ITB played against Secret, they were slow, they were controlled. Secret allowed ITB to set up and do what they wanted, and ITB ruined them. G2 are not giving them that luxury. G2 are making sure they take the fight to them and not giving them any room to work with. They're taking everything from them and giving nothing back.
I think that's the best way to really start to combat that. It is starting to become a little bit more apparent, just the sheer gulfing experience between these two rosters right now. G2 doing a great job of playing to their win conditions, which is C4s, flexibility, and information.
Look,
Again,
G2 can play
look
against
at the
anyone,
lineup.
Ollie.
Yeah.
They can play against anyone in the world. They can play every style of Siege. And I think that's why they do well internationally, isn't it?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Surely not. Oh. It's always a fun one, this, a cat and mouse chase.
It's a horrible room to try and stay alive in Meeting, I always think, because there's a good chance someone's going to come in through there. There's a couple of windows to worry about. Azza, he knows that something's not quite right, and Benja is trying to waste as much time as possible. Going to send out the logic bomb phone call. Get the feeling he's thinking about balling himself through the window, but it's going to be Kanto. Kanto should not be dying there. At least Noah is there for the trade.
He should never get a kill. In what universe has Benji got a 1-for-1 there? And onto a very important operator. You've taken out the soft destruction. ITB looked as if they were kind of almost prepared for the storage hold again from G2 if they were going to go for it. They were looking to take above and then start sweeping, use the vertical, clear the players out of storage, and then hit the site. G2 this time have just reverted away from that. They're going to sit happy enough in the bomb site, use, again, the sheer vast numbers of C4s that they have. And then for them to then lose the buck, which is really important to have now if you know a team's playing more of a turtle strategy, it's a massive issue. All they have is free breaching charges. That's not enough.
We'll have to see where they choose to use those precious few breaching charges. It's not even like hatches are going to be very viable to be opened as well. You could choose to use the Selmas, but you may be going to want to try and use them elsewhere. Obviously, Buck with the hard breach gadget would have assisted that as well.
Oh,
Noah is going to find one back though, but Alamau immediately there with the trade. G2 not letting anything slip here, going back immediately and trading kills as soon as they are lost. Jonker calling for this wall now to be opened. Noah can start to complete that process. Needs to find the Cade Claw. Will do just exactly that.
Oh, Uno. I like this position though, tucked hard right up the wall. If they don't have a drone to figure out where he is, he'll be easily stopping this plant go in. I mean, they don't even have diffuser. Yonka, there we go, picks up, but somehow it's actually Uno who loses his life. But in the other end of the spectrum, G2 have won their engagement. Somehow Alamau was ended up back upstairs again, and Doku with an easy cleanup. Don't really know what's happened there for ITB. Diffuser was in no man's land, it looked like. I don't know why Yonka doesn't have the diffuser. Alamau's been able to not only get the one kill rotating up in towards Garage, drop the hatch, and he's done it again. How's that worked out?
He's putting his time in on the Stairmaster, hasn't he? Up and down those stairs.
I heard about you in the Stairmaster.
Oh dear, it wasn't a good time. I'll maybe talk about it later. Into the breach. Time for a timeout. What magic can Kangaroo Kenny come up with this time?
Look, as much as the praise that he's been getting as a coach is... Look, I always feel for coaches. Whenever things go well, they reap the rewards. Whenever things go bad, players get the blame. Do you ever really hear somebody going after the coach's throat? I know it's like that in regular sports, which is a bit of a concern I would have. People give all the coaches all the praise. Whenever things go bad, people let it slide. That's just a demo rant. That's a demo topic for another day. It's just something I open up. But as good as what he is, I don't think he's going to really help them much in this circumstance because the players seem out of it. They look so scared. So they don't want to... It looks as if they don't even want to be here. It's 4-0 for your major spot. And G2 are doing to them what they did to M&M earlier. The amount of times, Ollie, where we sat here this weekend and it's just been just an onslaught. Teams going massively ahead. In the first map specifically, second map's a little bit closer, but first map, I don't know, there's always one fast team and one slow team.
Yeah, G2 have been... It feels as though G2 have been pretty desperate to play Nighthaven as well with the way their bans have gone throughout the course of the stage. And it's nice to see them now getting a chance to really show us what they've got on it. Nice little Valkyrie camera there you can take into your own games. Easy making sure that we get full value out of that. That is now no longer a good Valkyrie cam for anyone inside the comp.
Easy. You've ruined G2's hold. Congratulations.
Uno's probably a little bit annoyed at that when he rewatches the VOD. He'll probably send you a sharply worded DM on Twitter. But jokes aside,
cease and desist order.
jokes aside, into the breach. you need to wake up. You've got to get into the fixture. This is your map choice. You were bold enough to bring G2 to Nighthaven. You cannot let these attacks slip like this. It's very good. It's going to be very difficult from here on out, especially as you mentioned, Demo, with Sky coming up.
It's a good map for G2. They understand the map very, very well. Obviously, Fresh has said that he feels that ITB have hid that away for the right moment. But if you're going into Skyscraper demoralized to All Kingdom Come, it's not going to help you at all, no matter how well you prepared. This is really where the mental fortitude needs to set in for ITB, and that timeout has not helped them. Azure, an immediate death. He's been the standout for ITB. He is... Would you notice him right now? You notice him on the kill feed whenever Doki's killed him, and that's really it. Yeah,
1 and 5 from your star player of the previous series, one of the big hitters in the roster, someone that's bringing nades in the Iana. You know, he's sort of cosplaying the random in ranked at the moment that just insta-locks Iana and then goes in and dies first every single round. So again, something needs to happen there, because that's a player that you've got to be able to rely on to some degree from Into the Breach. And when they're going into all of these rounds at a man disadvantage, especially going up against the amount of information that G2 are bringing time and time again, it is going to be tricky. At least they're going for a slightly different approach here and now. There isn't as much focus on those fish stairs. Instead,
great impact.
It's a little bit more inside of the garage.
How are they letting them just impact trick it? That should not be happening. Whoever's on the garage door needs to be holding that. There's no shot. Doki gets away. Swinging in through garage. Picks off 2 of them. How? It just sums up ITB. The kills aren't there. Doki's on fire. Doki's got as many kills as what ITB do in total. It's like Koi versus Wild again. One team's at the races, the other's sitting at home with their feet up.
Certainly feels that way. Kanto going to try and make something happen here, but he's probably better off just sitting on the roof and using these 30 seconds as a little bit of an extension to the previous timeout for the team to have a discussion. He's going to pick one over onto Alamau, but that's information now gained. Another onto Uno. Fresh had something really interesting on the desk. He said he could think of 5 players on G2 that would try and collect the final kill when they're in an advantage, and so far we've seen 2 of them. Benja getting away with it there. He did get downed in the process. That's why we're going to see the kill cam from Doki's point of view. It wasn't close by any stretch, but G2 there really wanting to secure that final kill.
Just an absolute disaster class from all Accords right now for ITB. This is not the same team we've seen play Nighthaven yesterday. It's not. Sure, I think G2 have adapted pretty well to what ITB have wanted to go for. This heavy C4s, I think, have been crucial for G2, and that's kind of been their game plan. But it just feels off, doesn't it? Like, how is he allowed to do this? I mean, the double impact trick from Doki should not be happening. Whoever the player was in garage door, why he's rotated away from that is beyond me. As soon as that first impact comes in, you will then understand, oh, he's impact tricking me from his mirror window. Place the guy on the garage door and catwalk. If he tries that again, he'll get shot in the head. Nobody was there. Impact trick was in. And then for Doki just to walk out and kill both of them is so surreal. Should not be happening.
Doki definitely feeling himself this game. 9-2 at the moment.
That's just Doki. It's either he's here or he's not. You know, consistently inconsistent is always how I sum up Doki, but I'd still rather have him than not have him.
It just pops up and has a life game every now and then when it matters
just
the most for G2.
For the life game, that's it. Just for that hope. Oh.
Final chance for Into the Breach to pick anything up out of this attacking side. They really can't afford to leave this empty-handed. They need to come away with at least a round. And even that, at this point, feels as though it might not be enough. We've got information being gathered. Again, this Pulse has been a staple operator pick from G2, regardless of who's been playing it. It is assisting right now. Figure out just exactly how many people are stacking up outside of the breach. If you look at Doki's position, you might be looking to try and do something about it.
Getting more info from the Pulse, just feeding it to the rest of the team. A minute gone. No kills as of yet, which I think that's a good thing for ITB to not lose anyone. We're looking to try and just maybe go for a quick one in free storage, but there's a lot of vertical, though. You can't really go for that. And even so with Benja manning down the bomb site. Oh, a nade just touches him, but has to move away as Kendry is in below. Equally as much as we talk about the C4s can get the kills from below, so can the nades.
And we haven't really seen that at all. Into the Breach were fantastic on that nade usage against Secret yesterday, particularly vertically. We haven't seen those used to great effect yet here today. We've often had at least 2 sets of nades being brought. Kendry going to pick one up onto Benja. Benja
Good refrag.
don't get the trade back. Nice refrag there. I think it was Azza that was maybe just wandering up the stairs, completely looking the wrong direction. Virtue now getting himself into an engagement, highlighted as a player to watch, and continues to be just that player as he takes Kendry down and retakes that advantage here for G2.
Look how disjointed ITB are. They're everywhere, and they don't really seem to try and stick together. You know, people swinging doorways by themselves. Kanto tries to move in, will pre-fire. Virtue left out in the cold. Nobody from his side is helping him. But as long as there's still this pulse upstairs, they're going to know exactly where ITB are going to plant. Alamau goes for the C4, has constant information. Noah shoots the C4, though. That is huge to stay alive, because as long as Noah's upstairs, then Uno can't really stop the plant going down. He did eventually get Noah. Yonka has finished him off as he dropped into the site. Alamau in the 1 versus 2. I think he's had a stellar weekend. He hasn't really put a foot wrong so far. Let's see if he can make this one happen. No, he can't. Yonka close. Not ready for that swing. Finally, ITB on the board.
Welcome into the Breach. You left it till your last round of attack to put any number up there. Will that be enough is the question. You know what, Demo? It's really funny what happens when they have a decent round. They don't rush on in. They lost an opening, but they got the frag back. They got that direct trade, and they played the win condition. They played that diffuser. Okay, it was onto a less than optimal defender site, but it's a round nonetheless. Hopefully it gives them a little bit of confidence now as the switch of the half is going to happen. And we'll see what they've got to show us here on the defense.
I think you have to give credit to Noah there on that attack. Just him staying alive for so long means that Uno cannot safely just kind of tunnel vision into using the cardiac sensor to find out where the diffuser's going down. Because there's always that risk if you're a pulse. You know, if you have that scanner out using the gadget, you don't have a gun in your hand. So you know, you're very easy just to somebody to rush you down and get that kill, similar to what I think issues kind of Tachanka would have whenever he pulls out his gadget. But I think G2 will still be very happy with that start. You know, a 5-1 half. ITB really need to dig their heels in and make these defenses a success. See the mirror window. That's going to be used for the impact trick, as we know. Not there to play off the mirror window and get some kills. As soon as they see somebody come over with any form of hard breach, they'll pop the window open, and out goes the impact grenades.
This is where G2 aren't necessarily going to have things as easy as they did on the defense, where they can just sort of set up their own mini games. They've now got something to work with, and Into the Breach aren't going to make it too easy. We'll be able to get the main wall open quite quickly. Alamau going to see to it that that job is done straight away. Drones can now start to move through and gather information. G2 look to, I mean, Alamau at least looks to want to move with a little bit of purpose here. He seems really up for the fight, pre-firing everything, not wasting too much time, getting it straight on in there. Could speak to G2's level at this moment in time. It's going to be Doki to pick up the opener, but again, immediately traded there by Noah. Noah, he's someone that really quietly gets the job done, isn't he, Demo?
He just does his job. That's what you need. You need the consistent players. Just keep their head down and do what they need to. Almost gets the nade. Azur, that is a very quick shot. Takes Benja's head straight off his shoulders. You know, looking for the jump in and towards Gary. Cheese an opportunity. That drone hole. All people forget about that drone hole. I've died to that a few times. I'll be honest, I can't believe I died to it more than once, but it's one you don't really think of too much.
There are a couple of drone holes that are like that, or at least for me, but especially with some of the hard-hitting weapons now, you don't need to put too many shots through a drone hole until you've done a good portion of damage or even found yourself a kill. And if someone's already low, then it's almost GG's. So G2 stalling out now at the moment. They've got a lot of players that have been left unchecked. Somebody like Kanto, for example, that is on a decent enough roam downstairs. There is a bit of information available for G2. We can see them jumping into Rosero drones now and still trying to gather. We got Doki on a flank cam as well. Just flicking to make sure that no one is going to be on that flank. It's Kanto, the one to watch. And Alamau there to take him out. Must have been a drone there because they were pinged as well.
Yeah. Look at this. Uno trying to push in towards Garage. That mirror window is open. Alamau loses his engagement. Virtue, though, straight into Electrical, and Uno and Virtue both winning engagements. Noah in the 1v2, 1 to his left, 1 to his right. He gets the down, but Virtue has the trade. I'm in disbelief. I can't believe ITB have let that one slip. You know, Ollie, G2, they didn't really have a lot to play off. They just jumped in and just took their ones.
I think this is the thing with G2. They don't need a lot to play off. What did they have realistically there? They had Doki on a flank drone, calling out Kanto. Alamau was out there on the prowl, waiting to see if he could clean him up. And then you've got a beautiful pinch to close it out. There really is no better teamwork at the moment inside of the qualifiers that we've seen this weekend. I think that everybody has everybody's back on G2 at the moment, and it's just going to show.
Oh, it's just, I mean, it's disappointing. You think for the grand final, this is where the fireworks should be exploding, but it does feel a little bit like men versus boys. It does feel like that. I think G2, all of them have just been stellar. I mean, I'll be honest, this weekend, G2's gave me the same vibes they did whenever they went on to win SI, where every single one of them played their part and played it well.
Yeah.
And if that happens, you're not stopping that team.
I think the problem with that is, whilst you might have had that feeling, that's in a last chance qualifier scenario. That isn't against the best teams in the world.
I get that, but it's still good enough to get them to the major. And that's all that matters for G2 right now. You know, going to the major, that's a problem down the line in a month's time. They focus on here and now, and if they're all having that consistency feeling, getting to that major and getting to SI is crucial. Yes, the major's nice, but SI is the big thing for this team. That is it. As reigning world champions, you need to be there to defend that. If you don't, it's a joke.
Well, it is a 99% chance, even if they lose this grand final, that they will make it, and 100% chance if they win. We did just have the stat pop up on screen, so we can keep an eye on that throughout. I'm not sure what the 99% chance is sort of based on. If they lose the final, there'll be some sort of tie-break condition there, or
it's like
some sort of
GK win the major, something like that maybe.
It'll be something unusual, but we'll worry about that if we have to. Instead, it's going to be Doki. 2 kills just on the entry here.
Ow.
He's basically just walked in under a logic bomb phone call and a bit of drone work and picked up 2. That is terrible. Into the breach, 3 versus 5. There's 2 minutes on the clock, Demo.
Yeah, and you've got 1 player off site. Yonka's done well to get a C4 kill, and so is Kendrew. G2 maybe taking the foot off the pedal here. Another C4 gets tossed in. Uno has tanked that one, though. See if he can find the player inside a pillar. Looks as if Alamau has found his kill. Maybe Azur could be playing spoiler here. He's on the flank upstairs, but does leave his teammate in quite the precarious predicament. Kendrew fighting for his life, but he has a diffuser, Ollie. That is a massive for Kendrew.
Kenny will be screaming that he's got the diffuser now and seeing if Azur can try and get to him to assist. Azur instead just looking to try and waste a bit of time on the site, but there's so much of it to burn through. Everybody in a 1 versus 1 here. Azur fighting his own 1v1. Kendrew fighting his own. Virtue trying to make something happen. He's going to send out the Ram gadget there just to cause a little bit of distraction, maybe make a line of sight. Alamau going to try and turn his attention toward getting that diffuser and recovering it. And he might just be left to do so. Azur going to find one onto Virtue, just the same way that Into the Breach split up. We saw the players from G2 split up. Alamau, he's recovered the diffuser, but there's Vertical going to be in and around the site. And he's got an important engagement to win here against Azur. He's got a bit of information. The yellow ping is going to come out there just on the other side of that soft wall, but Azur's patience is perfect. Waits for Kendrew to drop, waits for the pinch, and is able to clean up that final kill.
Azur just playing for his life, wasn't he? Tried to stay alive with Animus as long as he could and even wins the engagement, but Kendrew the highlight. Stopping that diffuser was everything for ITB. It made G2 have to scramble, and it just came down to G2 winning individual gunfights. That's all it was, and this time it was ITB. They get the luck of the draw, they win the engagements, and they're not out yet, but we need to see 4 more rounds in a row. I just don't know how long they can keep this going. I mean, I say it's only 1 round, but that's really where we're at. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, G2, I think maybe let it slip a little bit. You commented there, Doki walked in, picked up 2, but then it was immediately traded back. All right, not immediately, 15 seconds later, traded back. At that point, I think that G2 could have either taken a back seat and realized what they had and set up for a little bit more of a site-based execute, or continued to hunt those roamers. It didn't seem like they did either, really. So maybe a lesson to be learned there, but G2 have a decent round buffer here. But into the breach, a momentum-based team, and we know what can happen when they start chaining a couple of rounds together. So equally, you've got to be cautious of that. You might have a 4-round buffer here, G2, but you don't really want to let it get to that. You want to try and get this one over the line as quickly as possible.
It's just very similar to that M&M game that G2 played, where you know they're going to cheese one round at least, aren't they? There's going to be one round where you know it's going to be, you can never do that push again, but that's all G2 need is just one push that'll work. You don't have to play it in history your life again, but as long as it works, it works. Don't think they're going for anything too funky right now, just based on their operator choice. Right now, the main issue for them is getting these walls open again. The impact tricks will be coming in force. You've got 4 of them for ITB, also free C4s. G2 probing the site, Ollie, just trying to figure out where they really want to go for. They're trying to open up everything to give themselves as many opportunities as they can. Alamau, great shot caller. If he sees an opportunity, the entire team will commit to it. So giving him as many options to choose from as they can is a bonus.
Looks like Doki's going to try and hop in and find something. All he finds is a goo mine. Lucky to not get swung there, really, on that window. Uno, he's going to make his way in through the top of Fish. Doki is going to try and join him here, but he's got a tricky angle to challenge onto on the mirror window. Does have a nade in pocket, so can look to try and make use of it. Will send it out there, and he's going to find the opener once again over onto Kendrew. That is going to be the catalyst for this round. He can now look to try and push up, disable that mirror window, get a couple of points to damage him, but he's going to trade out there as C4 flies in. Jonker, he's made the flank of his life. He's got himself up those fish stairs, and Virtue, well, he was left all alone inside of the breach. The energy is starting to build over in Sheffield.
Oh, I see a couple of eyes light up now. They could maybe be in here. They could try and build a bit of momentum. I mean, you look at that attack from G2, I think they did quite well. Being able to use the nade to push the player off the mirror window, I thought was great. Take control of Garage, get your kills. But the big play actually came, I think, from Junker. Being able to push that player on his Flores drones was sensational. Those are big moments. You know he's going to be vulnerable. Remember, whenever you get out of the drone animation, there's just that little kind of second before you pull your gun out again, and that's where you're vulnerable. And Yonka takes full advantage of that.
Great heads-up play from Yonka. Great C4 from Noah. I think that Into the Breach did a fantastic job of holding on there, especially with the sort of the 3-2-1 goal that G2 provided. There was the nades coming through. Doki then chose that moment after the flash to push up and disable the mirror window, and then all of a sudden that ground is much safer for the attackers to operate in. But kills coming in from Into the Breach now. They've taken the time to get into this map number 1, but it seems as though they're much more comfortable on the defense here today. We are just in a short technical break. I think Benja is going to be restarting. Put a message into the chat, and based on the fact that he's the only camera we can't see, I'm imagining that is what he's doing.
Where's Benja boy? He's gone. We'll be back in as quick as we can. But again, just ITB hanging in there as long as they can. But it is almost like a tripwire. You're just waiting for one misstep and G2 will punish you. That's the kind of team they are. You need to play perfect against this team. You know, Alama, I've mentioned before, his opportunity spawn. If he sees a weakness, he will go for the juggler straight in, rip your throat out.
And the problem is, for Into the Breach, that G2 only need to find that opportunity once, right? They don't need to find that opportunity multiple times. If I'm not mistaken, I did just hear somebody rejoin the lobby. Either that or I'm imagining things. So hopefully we will be back underway very shortly indeed. And there we are. My ears did not deceive.
You're not that
6-3.
Here's
Yeah,
one gave
but
out yet.
it's quite a slight noise, isn't it?
Get the dog whistle, see if you can hear that. I'll test it. See how good the hearing is. Now, this is what I was waiting for. Look at the G2 lineup. Lack of hard breach, so straight away you're thinking, right, they're going for a rush. And you also bring in the Ying. They haven't shown this yet in their attack.
Oh, they are bringing the Ying. It was Alamau, and now it's been switched. So they have got the hard breach now.
They've got the hard breach now.
But they've also still got the Ying.
5 seconds to go.
I wonder how they're going to use the Ying. If I'm G2, I think you use the Ying to clear away the top floor mirrors. I think that's the best way to utilize her in this scenario. You're not really going to be dealing with mirror windows in and around the mid floor. Mirror windows are going to be used to try and hold that top floor as best as they can for ITB. You hold top floor, you have all the denial for anyone trying to plant in the bomb site. So look at all that vertical holes being opened up. That's where the majority of players will be stationed.
Attackers have located a
That's
bomb.
what G2 want to go for. I mean, look at Uno on the diffuser. That always tells me where teams are going to rush in from based on the diffuser carrier. And him upside down repelling on storage window, it does scare me, I'm not going to lie.
Early days into the round, we'll have to see where he ends up here. He is now joined by Alamau, so they are certainly focusing in and around. We're going to get the wall open there into warehouse. We've got Doki doing a little bit of work from the roof as well. I think the biggest problem with this is that Into the Breach do look a little bit unaware of what exactly is going on. We've got a couple of can openers used there to open up the breach as well. Benja, he's going to be below the
Yellow
site.
pings.
Looking to work off the back of this information, trying to get a nade sent out there. Not going to be successful initially, and the smoke is going to do him a favor there, though. We'll find some good damage onto Jonker as we hear the Dokkaebi call come through, and Jonker loses the most important engagement. 2 kills for Alamau really opens things up here, and on the reverse vertical, Uno finds yet another. Kanto, you got it all to do. G2, they've got the plant down now, and they are just going to get themselves out of the building and look to hold this in a post.
He's trying his best, Kanto. See if he can get a kill back, but there's nobody giving themselves up from G2. Looks as if ITB are going to have to try their chance at Skyscraper if they want to get a map on the board. Because Nighthaven, all G2. It was a very strong start. A little bit slow from G2 in the middle, but they come out on top in the end. G2 very well deserved that. I love the way that they were using the information in unison with the nades. Yonka couldn't stay on the site to deny them jumping in the window. Really well played. Information just won them that round, just off the back of good drone work.
I think G2 really took it back to basics in terms of operator selection there as well. You think back to those defending lineups that they were bringing so much information. All they wanted to know is where are they coming from or where are they not? And they worked off the back of that exceptionally well. It took them a couple of rounds to get it over the line on their attacks, but as we saw, they are as deadly as ever. I'm interested to hear what the desk has to say about this one, because I think they pitted it to be a lot closer than it turned out